Hey everybody, today I got a lot of postcards, one that I pulled from a larger lot that I purchased recently. I frequently buy large lots of postcards, and I'll go through and sort, and I'll pull out the ones that I think have either standalone value or could be sold in small lots, and or ones that I might want to personally hold on to. And then I sell the remainder of them, and oftentimes I can get all of my money back or very close to it. And so the money I have then in the ones I've kept or I've held out to sell is already all back to me before I get going. And so what we have is this. We'll go through that, and then I'm just going to show you kind of a collection or a lot of holiday postcards, which I'm actually getting up and ready to sell in one of our eBay stores this week. This one is based on a real photograph, but it is actually printed on here. It's a drawing room of this hotel in Defiance, Ohio. Sometimes, not always, but sometimes the shots from interiors of homes, hotels, restaurants, things like that have value. I don't usually know. Because even if I find a view of the same restaurant, let's say inside, because I've seen one that sold really well, it may not, or maybe it'll sell and I've not seen one, so it's hard to tell. This is, again, printed, and we got condition issues here, obviously, but looking at, this is the earthquake in 1906 in Santa Rosa, California, and this is sort of like a, quote-unquote street view of what it looked like. Really rough condition there. Here's one of, I guess this is like a river, and it says something about our cottage, unposted, a real picture postcard there. Here's another one that is a real photo paper at the Granite Quarry Lake in Graniteville, Missouri. I'm from Missouri, but I'm not familiar with Graniteville. We're over here in western North Carolina now. This one's got some rough shape, some major folds there, but again, an Ohio scene, public library. Sometimes these buildings, particularly buildings that maybe don't exist anymore, or say like a train depot or a post office or a school or something that no longer is there, can sell well. I don't know where this is exactly. It's an aerial view taken from either up on the mountain or maybe from an airplane of sort of a valley here with some mountains. I'm not exactly sure where this is going to. Is that Miss as in Mississippi? This is a 1907, so it's an undivided postcard, so it would have to be 1907 or before. Sometimes you'll find undivided postcards as late as like the early teens, and the card itself would have been produced before 1907, but they just didn't use it until later. Here's another real photo. This is cool because it's a ship, and you've got people on the beach with a building, and this says "A Sail on the Pacific," and this is in Santa Barbara, California. It says this is the prettiest place that we went to. Another 1907, and you see they just started doing the dividing here, because they could have made a message, but see, they were not used to doing it, so they're still doing it on the front in a spot where they've made a border so that they can use to write a message. This is a World War I scene. Men, you can tell by the military outfits and the hats. They're down in a trench here. You can see some condition issues here in the middle, but this is a real photo. People who collect military stuff would like that. This is an interesting one. I don't know for sure, but I think that this is based off of stuff from Alaska, but I could be wrong on this. But we've got a bunch of it's a photograph, obviously a much newer one. However, both of these are similar, if not identical. I guess they're identical. Of totems, like wood carved totems, and this came in a lot of other ones from Alaska, so that's what I'm assuming that they're from. Here's another one that's printed based on an original photograph, the broken column in Lucas Cave, and I don't know where Lucas Cave is. I don't think that it's in the United States. Australia is where the stamp is from, and so it was coming to San Francisco. That's interesting. Never seen one like that before. Here's one that came in a lot of other ones that I've already put up for sale that are the theme is alcohol, and so you can see they're all sitting around drinking their beer. men and women alike. Someone's got a horn up there, playing some music. What a nicely posed. It's based from a hotel. I don't know if this is like a keepsake card or like a travel card, but obviously it says Hamburg, so this is in, and it says Denmark there, in another language. This is an interesting one. I've never seen one like this before. So it's set up like a real photograph, but it's in red, and you've got kind of like a picture of like a home down below, but then you have what appears to be like a real photograph of people up here, and some men and a child, and they're numbered. And then back on the back, you've got they're telling you who these people are. Kind of cool little scene there, 1913. All ones that I pulled from just like a random lot of various postcards of various ages and different locations. Here are two that are similar, and they are from Niagara Falls. Anyone who collects postcards knows that a lot, if not most, of Niagara Falls postcards don't have a whole lot of value. And the reason is it's been a popular tourist site for decades and decades, and there were just thousands upon thousands of postcards made as keepsakes for travelers through that area. Now, these are a little bit different because they are real photographs, so these would carry more value. They say Niagara Falls on them. We don't have a date, but if I did some research on this spot here where you put the stamp and even where it says postcard here, I could probably date that within a few years, and you guys might know already. I thought this was kind of strange. Old cards with old like humor is bizarre sometimes. It says for a scolding woman, and it's a bunch of men, and I don't called the ducking stool. I have no idea what that means, but it's like a woman facing away, sitting in a chair that's connected to something like a pulley system or something. I really don't know what's going on here, but I thought that was bizarre. And it's also on photo paper. It's printed on photo paper as if a real photograph would be on there. Mrs. Steck or Steele, something like that. She understood, I would assume. This is a cool one, again, based on a real photograph from an airplane of Manhattan. So right there in New York City, the main gigantic island, or like peninsula, I guess. It's not an island. But you can see all the main large buildings at the southern Manhattan there. And then just the rest, and then you can see Central Park there, and the kind of the central northern part of the peninsula. Really cool to see what it looked like at this period of time. My guess is this is like the 1940s, 1950s. What do we got here? 1952. Save the Easy Buy U.S. bonds. Those were popular cancellations during wartime, World War I, World War II. This says it's the old cannon, which was which held Billy Whitla's $10,000 ransom for nearly 6 hours. No idea what this is regarding, but it's in Ohio, in Flatiron Park in 1909. You got some people sitting here being like, oh, hey, who is that guy taking that picture? Found that interesting. I need to look that up and find out what's going on with that. What's this $10,000 ransom situation? Here's some men standing there in Navy outfits with cigarettes. I don't believe they're actually on a boat. I think that this is a studio photograph, and it makes it look like they're on a boat in the background, although I could be wrong. I like this. I think it's just composed well. It's an interesting photo of two men sitting there, cozying up, being friends. Suspenders on one side and a particular hat. I don't know if he's a railway worker. The other man, kind of a flat, almost like a barbershop quartet type hat. He's got like a pocket watch fob in his vest pocket. I like the way that it's off center, or like on the side. I like how they faded out into the card. It's just a cool look. Here's one of the heavy piece of machinery holding up some sort of I don't know if this is something made to grab gravel or rock or something, but you've got all these men posing down here, workers. You can see there's mountains in the background. No idea where they are, but it looks like it's España, so maybe this is from Spain. Not exactly sure. Here's a cool card. I featured this on one of the last ones on Real Picture Postcards. This is a funeral procession at at a military base in North Carolina. You can see they've got the caskets that they're wheeling through. This was World War I era men who died or women in World War I. And then here's another one of men and maybe women. I think it's just men. And this is a Squadron USA, another military-based postcard. And then we've got a couple of shots here. This was the USS Pennsylvania, the boat, like a large turret on the boat. And then this is men in the teens who traveled over on a warship, Navy men, and they're in Panama, near the Panama Canal, and they're there at the Knights of Columbus building. These are all going up in my eBay store. This is a crazy kind of disturbing photo. There was a flood in Dayton, Ohio in 1913, and in the aftermath of this, they discovered a horse that had drowned and was twisted up and being basically hung by its hoof in the wreckage. It's just the most bizarre scene, very sad. But this was the deal, like with natural disasters and things that occurred back then. It was not uncommon for people to rush out and get photographs. People were sent by photo studios specifically to get photos of the natural disasters because they were a hot commodity. People bought those and sent them as postcards. This one's an aerial view of Cherokee in western North Carolina, where I live. And this is the Cherokee Nation Reservation. It's a large town now. They got a casino and all kinds of things down there, things to do. But this is earlier on, before a lot of that was developed. And so it's a cool aerial view. Aerial views of areas of the country and other countries where you can see the way it used to look like. There's definitely collectors for those types. This is a demonstration by a firefighter shooting a hose of water in a long ways. And you can see all these men and women have shown up. I don't know if this is a parade, it's commemorating something, but as a part of this, you have a firefighter out there demonstrating what they do. And this one's finally going up for sale. I've had it for a while. I just think it's cool. Heavy snow, a kid with a snowball, and a family here all posing for their photograph. This is like an exaggeration postcard, giant corn. I'm going to skip through that because I showed that on a previous video. Good Citizens, the Boys Town Commission. Boys Town is like a extracurricular type of an activity that people can be a part of, usually in high school, and they do things like I think learn like maybe they debate, maybe they learn about government and civic responsibility. But this is a real photograph of young men. It's probably 1940s, 1950s. It doesn't say, but just based on the way that they're dressed. This is a cool one. This is probably teens or 20s. I'm enjoying myself in McKeesport, Pennsylvania, and he's motoring. That's what they call driving around, just motoring. Just motoring around. Oh, look, two young men, two young women, little couples out for a leisurely stroll, not a stroll, a drive, in their car here, March 10th, 1914. This is going to Utica, Pennsylvania, looks like. Last one of these kind of real photo ones is this. Just a nice little scene of a rushing river. Got a lot of boulders there in the background, kind of the hillside. Not quite sure where this is taken, but it honestly looks very similar to the western North Carolina region down here. Just a nice, serene kind of scene. Not terribly dark. This is kind of like a medium darkness in the dark room. Quite nice. These are all ones that have been picked up in the last 2 weeks that I'm going to put out for sale. I expect that the Valentine's ones will go quickest because Valentine's Day is the closest holiday to come, but then Easter's right around the corner. Just got several of these. I'm going to kind of blow through them. I've got several. I really go for ones that are colorful and as good a condition as possible. So oftentimes they're embossed. This one is not. Well, it is, but it's very, very light. Colorful, good corners, no creases, that kind of thing. Here's just some kids and some rooster there, some kids. It's heavily embossed, you can see, but really good condition overall. That's what's important, especially because in the last few years I mean, the postcard world, stuff that used to be able to command, I mean, just a couple of years ago, $12, $14. Now people are selling for $2 and $3, and it's just really difficult to for some of these to actually make money on them because the prices have been raised out at places like antique stores and thrift stores too. They want to charge you between $3 and $5 for them, and it's almost like you can't hardly find things at a good enough value to sell online and make money on them anymore, unless you buy large lots, which is what I do, and you pull out nicer ones. If you can make all your money back on the ones you leave behind, then you are able to stand to make some money. Some of these coming up are what they would call anthropomorphic, which means they're taking animals and they're assigning them human characteristics, giving them clothing. They're up doing things like painting an Easter egg, things that people would do, and these tend to bring higher values than a lot of other types that are just colorful. This one's a good one. A bunch of rabbits on chickens. Here's a rabbit driving a car. Here's a rabbit and a rooster buddying up. Again, we got chicks driving a car. And then we get into some Christmas stuff here. I like these. These will go together in a lot because they're similar, same motif as you can see, same maker, but you've got a boy on one side, a girl on the other. Really colorful, good condition. Same thing here. Same kind of idea. You've got angels with bells, the gray, like the silver background, Merry Christmas, and then you have one that's horizontal, same type of a thing. Those again will go together. And then we've got a couple here. I believe that this is probably Francis Brundage, based on the face. They're not, I don't believe, it's the Christmas Nation series, so that wouldn't be too hard. I can look that up. But silver on one side, gold on the other, two little girls, those can go together. So now we're talking about small lots, not just individually. You can put similar kinds together. This motif of hands reaching out and either handing things to each other or holding hands was a pretty common motif back in like the early 1900s into the teens. You don't see that used as much anymore, but certainly was popular then. Here we got some turkeys driving a car. Decoration Day, which is interesting. They don't really call it that. I think that this is in reference to Memorial Day. It's a winch card. You can tell by the way that it says postcard and the motif behind it. And then we've got various Christmas cards that were likely, made in Germany or in another country. Colorful. These are not embossed, but they kind of have a similar look. Probably not the same artist, but could be. This one's actually signed by the artist in the lower right. If you don't have a book that talks about specific artists and the values, you should invest in one. You can find them for $15, $20, and you'll find that certain cards that are signed by artists can bring hundreds or thousands of dollars, believe it or not, for a single piece of paper, a postcard. So you should look at that. Artists like Mucha or Louis Wayne, Samuel Schmucker are among some of the higher value cards. But then there's other ones that are less known, more obscure. I don't know who Hans Baumfelder is, but I need to look it up. But these are the kinds of things that can be just sort of lost in the shuffle in a large lot of postcards. It's good condition, and you might find that some of these artists have a collector base that could pay you really good money for them. So you should look at them. I like this. These three are really cool because they are of like little gnomes and or elves. As you can see, these are like Christmas. I think these are mainly made for Christmas. Very cool, but you can see they're all this Norge, so Norway, Denmark. I'm just looking at the stamps here, Denmark. So these are all, not surprisingly, these are Scandinavian printed cards, but I don't see those as often in the United States. Whether it's Valentine's Day or Christmas, sometimes they use the same motifs. like in a Valentine's card, they might just swap out the flowers for hearts, and then they might even add a bow and an arrow and make it a cupid instead of just an angel. But there's a lot of similarities, and in some kinds you can find basically the same motif, just with one little thing different. Here's a kid getting in his toys, toy bag there. Thought that was a colorful one. A couple more that are similar. They're both Happy New Year. They're using the horseshoe because they're basically wishing you good luck. Horseshoe for luck. It's a new year. And these are winch cards. Again, you can tell by this motif right here that runs on either side of the postcard. That's a John Winch publishing company. And a lot of the nice cards, like Halloween cards. This is a Thanksgiving card. It's a John Winch card. And the artist Samuel Schmucker, who was the artist of this particular card, will be, he did stuff for the Detroit Publishing Company and others as well. But a lot of Winch stuff, and a lot of his Halloween ones were Winch. Happy New Year. I found two of the identical card on the same day, and this one was the best condition, so that's one I went with. And it wasn't posted, so it's a really, really nice one. If you were to go to a postcard trade show, or a show where people, a convention where people are displaying and also selling and buying postcards, this is the kind of thing that a lot of them have or would want to have, are these cards that have really good corners, no scratches on the surface, no wrinkles, no water damage, no creases. They're not posted. And depending on the card, it doesn't necessarily matter that it is posted. In fact, some people want the posting, some people want the cancellation, some people want the message. But for a lot of collectors, condition is everything, which is not unusual. That's true of the collecting world and just about any genre. Some really colorful ones. Some of these are clearly German. Here's a nice one, Best Wishes. I don't know if this is for a particular holiday, but this was nice because they wrote the actual date on it. It says Happy Birthday, so best wishes. So this one was meant for a birthday greeting to somebody, 1912. Oh, I love these these New Year's ones. So sometimes these, when you look at them from a distance before you get up and read it, at first it makes it seem like maybe it's Santa Claus. The people that this is, I guess, supposed to be Father Time. He's holding an hourglass there. It's a Happy New Year. It's a reference to time, and there's some really cool ones. This is an embossed card. You got some condition issues, something kind of stained on the bottom, but the front looks really good. I found it pretty cool. I also like this one. It's again it's a new year. I don't know what's going on. You've got children driving, and you've got a man pulling an empty car behind. Don't really know what that's trying to get at, but cool. 1909. Here is another Francis Brundage card. And this one, it happens to be signed right there, Francis Brundage. Tiny little nick at the bottom. Overall, a good card, though. January 1st, it's into your card. Embossed, no stamp on it. And then we're going to get into some, I would say, lesser valuable Santa cards. So more valuable ones would be ones that are kind of rarer, and you would know if you handle lots of cards like I do. But ones like this are not as rare, where he's wearing red. Here's one where he's basically all in white, almost like a really fuzzy outfit. Here's another one. You can see how, this is just not nearly as attractive looking as this. This one's embossed. It has more dynamic color. That one's just kind of flat, as is this one. They even did the cancellation on the front of the card. And then back to, it looks like we're slipping into some Valentines now. So these are the ones I'm gonna list first. I'm gonna try to get out. Very good color, gold leaf kind of on that. Let me flip these around because it looks like I've got them in the wrong direction here. Nice little Valentine scene of kids. That's a Tuck card. Raphael Tuck, another well-known and collected maker of postcards. Beautiful little girl. Again, I was going for the most colorful stuff I could. Another really pretty one. That might, I don't know who that is. I was trying to determine the, and this is I'll put these together, these two little girls. You know, they're kind of made to look like Victorian. They're honestly made to look like women, the way that they're dressed and stuff, but they're little girls. And that was, there was a lot of humor cards back in the day too, where they would put kids, they dress them up to look like adults in adult clothing and standing next to each other doing adult things. And that was kind of like, oh, how funny is that? These kids are whatever. That's another tuck card like the one before. Not the same, but similar. And just a butterfly, which is not a typical thing for Valentine's, but there you go. Cupid, almost all of them have Cupid or some sort of, man, I got these all mixed up. Another one that's similar to one from before. Same child, different pose. And then we've got a couple, 2 or 3 here maybe. Similar motifs again. True love's greeting, true love, token of true love, boy and a girl. Those could go together in a small lot. More of the girls, flowers, angels, flowers, angels, basket of hearts. I mean, these all have kind of the similar stuff until you get to this, which I think is bizarre. It's a woman in the middle of a web. Oh, she got a guy. He got stuck in there. It's bizarre. It's embossed. Purple and blue. It's kind of mesmerizing. A little Valentine one. A little bit more color in the background there. Nothing is terribly unique about these except that they're in decent condition. So somebody who collects or likes to have things out. I mean, for holidays, and it doesn't matter what the holiday is, there are people who like these old postcards and they pull them out to display around their house around that holiday time. And so, you know, what do we got here? I'm trying to see. Wessler. Okay. There's definitely Halloween postcards with this same motif. I don't know who the artist is that's on that, but I recognize that kind of setup. Little boy with flowers. Again, same thing here. There's Halloween ones that are similar to that. It's a tuck card. Hearts, angels. Little girl in blue, got that contrast of red and blue colors. Some pink. So a lot of them incorporate either angels, Cupid, or children. That was the primary one. Here's a kid in a basket. And this is kind of cool because it has something that's three-dimensional stuck on here on the outside of it, as you can see there. It's embossed. Beautiful colors in these, even though they're 100 years old in a lot of cases, or more, 110, 115 years old. The printing was absolutely incredible. Some of these printing companies, a lot of them in Germany, a lot of them destroyed, unfortunately, during World War II, during the bombings. But some really, really beautiful postcards. And the artwork. I mean, part of what I love about these cards specifically is just the work. I mean, what the artists did, their renderings here, really, really, really cool and creative. Some of them. Some of my favorite. I would say that some of the New Year's ones and then some of the Halloween ones are just really, really fascinating to me. Well, Valentine Serenade. Here we got just sort of like a Victorian era depictions of women, the hairdos, the styles that very much date it. To my sweetheart. Getting towards the end here. This is similar to one of the first ones in the Valentine lot. That gold leaf background. Really, really nice colors. I like that. I like the color contrast kind of behind her. This is a cool one. Again, I've seen some Halloween ones like this with that dark, kind of the nighttime scene in the background. A few more here with hearts and flowers. Hearts, flowers, children. That's what we're seeing. to the one I love best. Yeah, that's kind of a creepy looking kid there. I don't know if that's supposed to be a small man or what that is. It's a really nice card there. Kind of soft, you know. The artistry in that is pretty soft. I believe this is also another Brundage card based on the style of the face. The way that she made kids was very, I think it's a she. I'm not actually sure. Francis could be a man or a woman. I actually don't remember. Kaufman and Strauss. This is, I think, funny because it's not, you know, it's all been children or cupids and flowers and roses, and here's a man being whacked on the head. And then one of my favorites, and again, it's because this is not a typical motif. The Valentine card with tender love. I believe Valentine. It could be something else, but I just think it's beautiful. A swirly design, a child holding these colored, you know, like lit lanterns, embossed, really pretty, and like most of these, printed in Germany. But good condition, a little bit of wear on the edges, but overall pretty nice. Well, guys, thanks for checking these out with me. I'm going to sell all these and go back out for more, so wish me luck.